After a while, Yunyan sent a message to Xiao Min, asking what she was doing. Xiao Min replied quite quickly, sending her a sighing emoji. Yunyan, what's wrong? Xiao Min, the cover star for the spring-summer collection is causing trouble. I'm rushing to the office now. Yunyan was quite familiar with the fashion industry, especially jobs like Xiao Min's. Although it was autumn/winter now, all the related features for the spring-summer new arrivals needed to be thoroughly prepared. She sighed and sent a message. Hurry up and go. Xiao Min sent a crying face emoji. I just ordered some malatang and grilled skewers for a late-night snack. It's rare for me to be home early today. I've saved up several hit TV series, but they've all finished airing and I haven't watched a single episode. Malatang and grilled skewers. Yunyan, don't mention food to me right now. Xiao Min, what's wrong? She then sent a voice message. Didn't you meet Si Tingyuan today? Didn't you have dinner together tonight? Don't even mention that. Yunyan was getting a headache. She typed, you go ahead and be busy. Xiao Min, why do I feel like something's going on with you? Yunyan, nothing. I just wish I lived next door to you right now, so I could eat that malatang and those grilled skewers for you. Xiao Min, then go now. She immediately added another message. Never mind, your stomach isn't good. I'm afraid Yuan Zhou would kill me. Here we go again. Yunyan's head hurt even more. Jiang Yunyan's zhejiangmian was delicious, but it couldn't stand up to the temptation of grilled skewers and malatang. After a long while, Yunyan sent another message. I need to tell you something. Don't make a fuss after you know, and no voice message attacks. Xiao Min, that sounds scary. Yunyan thought for a long time. Jiang Yunyan is at my place, and he doesn't plan on leaving tonight. There was no response from Xiao Min for a long time. Yunyan rolled her eyes. Was she busy with something else, or did she not know what to reply? Just as she was thinking, Xiao Min sent a message. First time at your place? Junyan, no. Xiao Min still sent a voice message. If he can go there once, there will be a second time. Staying over is the same. Where there's one, there's two. Unless he's never set foot in your home. Yunyan's heart sank. He probably won't come often, right? Xiao Min, I'm just afraid that in the future, it'll be like walking through a city gate for him. What you should be worried about is Yuan Zhou. What if he runs into him? Yunyan let out a heavy sigh. Although Xiao Min didn't cause a huge commotion, she pointed out the trickiness of the problem with pinpoint accuracy. She couldn't even pretend not to be home. Jiang Yunyan could just show up uninvited today. Her phone vibrated. Yunyan thought it was still Xiao Min and tapped the screen. To her surprise, she was slightly stunned after seeing the message. Jiang Yunyan stayed the night, very much at ease with himself. Naturally, a night of intimacy was unavoidable. As dawn approached, as Yunyan was sleeping groggily, she felt the man behind her come over her again. She was dead tired, yet the entire process made her feel both intensely pleasurable and agonizingly exhausted. It was a long time before the man finished. He whispered something hoarsely in her ear. She was simply too exhausted and soon fell deeply asleep again. By the time Yunyan opened her eyes again, the sun was already high. She felt as if she were walking on cotton, and every slight movement made her entire body ache. Jiang Yunyan was not in bed. Yunyan wasn't sure if he had left. But looking at the current time, he had most likely left. She lay in bed for a little while longer. Yunyan remembered last night's message. She grabbed her phone and replied to the sender. Okay, I'll let you know before I leave. Jiang Yunyan had indeed left, but the clothes he wore to her home yesterday were still there. Yunyan suddenly realized, perhaps old Liu came early in the morning to bring him a change of clothes, and this outfit left on the sofa. Just as she was thinking, there was a knock at the door. Yunyan looked down at her loungewear. Thankfully, it was quite concealing. She walked to the entryway and peeked through the peephole. It was someone from the dry cleaner. They had come to pick up Jiang Yunyan's clothes, saying, the customer called and said this is the address. Then they asked, is he your husband? Should we deliver them back here once they're cleaned? Yunyan was surprised. What did that customer say? He just said to return them to where they were picked up, so I'm confirming with you. Yunyan's head buzzed. Xiao Min's words echoed in her ears again. There's a first time for everything, and if there's a first time, there'll be a second. After a few days apart, Mrs. Huang looked quite well, in fact. When Yunyan got into the car, Mrs. Huang said, isn't this thanks to Su Huai? The doctor he introduced me to is exceptionally good, and I've come to terms with many things. Since I've decided to take this step, I can't let any draining emotions get the better of me. That little vixen, she paused here, lowering her voice. She was even trying to provoke me a couple of days ago. Yunyan gasped softly. What was she thinking? She's got some nerve. The young girl isn't old. She just can't be patient and is desperate to climb higher, I guess. Mrs. Huang sneered. She doesn't even know her own worth. It must be said that Mrs. Huang was truly capable of keeping her composure. However, when encountering such matters, she had long been mentally prepared. Mrs. Huang took Yunyan's hand and sighed softly. Ah, women, no matter when, must have their own careers. Without a career, it's like losing the initiative, which is very frightening. Yunyin comforted her. Mrs. Huang, it's not too late for anything. Mrs. Huang nodded, her gaze becoming resolute. Everything that belongs to me, I will reclaim. She then looked at Yunyin. Don't worry. What Huang Jifa can't give to the Yu family, I can. He's the kind of person who burns bridges after crossing them. His using you today is purely because you still have value to him. It's impossible for him to have much genuine affection for the Yu family. Yunyin, in my heart, your mother was my benefactor, a rare confidant. With me here, the Yu family's projects with the company won't fall into disarray. Yunyin hadn't heard such a promise in a long time. Although she had once suspected Mrs. Huang of using her, Yu Wanzhou saw things clearly. He had said, so what if she is using you? In the cutthroat world of business, there are no eternal enemies and no eternal friends. Relationships last only through mutual benefit. For Mrs. Huang, you can help her achieve her goals. And for us, Huang Jifa is indeed unreliable. We must guard against him. Changes in the Huang family are bound to happen sooner or later. If we must choose a partner from among them, Mrs. Huang is still more dependable than Huang Jifa. She squeezed Mrs. Huang's hand, saying, the foundation of the Huang family, after all, belongs to the Su family. So, this matter shouldn't be too difficult to manage, as long as you can remain calm and focused. Su Huai was truly good, especially concerning her mother. Not only was he attentive, but he also relayed her mother's condition to overseas experts for discussion. Yunyin was grateful to Su Huai, but any further feelings were entirely out of the question. Yunyin knew of Su Huai's visits to the nursing home. She had also made her feelings clear to him. Su Huai was magnanimous, telling Yunyin, I never intended for you to feel grateful to me. Love isn't about being moved. I understand that, so I won't force it. Annie Song's situation is also somewhat within my field of medical research, and my concern for her stems from a doctor-patient relationship. Even if we can't be lovers, we can still be friends, right? Yunyin, you don't need to feel guilty as if you're using me. You're not. You shouldn't think that way, because liking you is my own business. He was a truly good man. She told Su Huai, I hope you meet a girl who truly loves you. Su Huai joked, I will. With my qualifications, it shouldn't be too difficult, right? Not difficult at all, Yunyin said sincerely, and she will be thousands, tens of thousands of times better than me. Though born into wealth, Su Huai possessed none of the typical vices of a rich young master. Even Mrs. Huang herself said that Su Huai was an anomaly in the Su family. When other Su children were roughly the same age, they were all scrambling to get ahead in the company's various intricate dealings, but not Su Huai. He had decided to study medicine back in his student days, and not only that, he intended to dedicate himself solely to being a doctor. He disliked dealing with the business world, which was precisely why Mrs. Huang was so fond of this nephew. Mrs. Huang contacted Yunyin today again because of Chairman Su. Last time, though Chairman Su met with them, it was effectively a polite dismissal. Last night, Mrs. Huang messaged her, asking if she was free today, saying Chairman Su's attitude seemed to have softened. She then briefly told Yunyin that making Huang Jifa leave with nothing needed to be put on the agenda. Mrs. Huang had a trusted driver personally pick up Yunyin. Once in the car, Mrs. Huang brought up recent events, mentioning that the mistress Inen was still staying at the Qin Yuan Hotel. The drive to Chairman Su's place was smooth, and the sunlight outside the window was pleasant, but the conversation was far from enjoyable. Yunyin asked Mrs. Huang in surprise, You went to the hotel again? Mrs. Huang waved her hand. I'm not that foolish. Since I've decided to burn my bridges, I won't beat the grass to startle the snake. Huang Jifa is suspicious. I can't let him discover any clues. It turned out Inen had proactively contacted Mrs. Huang, saying that signing with Mr. Huang's company was a matter of fate and asking Mrs. Huang for her continued care in the future. She claimed to want to connect emotionally, but in reality, it was a display of power. She arranged a spa and beauty treatment at the Qin Yuan Hotel, where the essential oils were reportedly airlifted from organic flower fields abroad, especially the lavender oil, which seemed to carry the scent of sunshine from the province flower fields. The prices were steep. Of course, only high-end consumers or hotel guests could afford to come here. None were people of simple means. Mrs. Huang accepted the invitation. It's a joke. If someone offers to pay for beauty treatments and massages, why wouldn't I go? Huang Jifa is willing to spend money on her, so I don't need to save money for him, Mrs. Huang said with a sneer. The full set of massages and beauty treatments was indeed comfortable. Mrs. Huang usually took very good care of her skin, and even the salon staff kept praising her. Inen was young and obsessed with a skinny, delicate aesthetic, so she had very little flesh on her. Perhaps what Huang Jifa desired in her was that youth. During the resting period, Inen started to make trouble. She began by expressing envy of Mrs. Huang, not having to work hard outside, being able to shop and do beauty treatments whenever she pleased, living a leisurely life, unlike them who were exhausted like dogs every day. Mrs. Huang was an astute person. How could she not understand Annen's intentions? She chuckled and said, "Your Mr. Huang might have many faults, but at least he's devoted to his family, which puts him streets ahead of other men. Nowadays, men, as soon as they have a bit of money, start having improper thoughts. Luckily, my old Huang isn't like that." Annen was still a bit too young, and her intention in arranging the meeting with Mrs. Huang was to show off and also to sound her out. So, upon hearing Mrs. Huang say that, she became displeased, realizing this meant Huang Jifa had no intention of divorcing. Thus, she said that a man's goodness couldn't be judged unilaterally. Someone devoted to his family wasn't necessarily a good man. Who knew if he was secretly cheating behind her back? Mrs. Huang chuckled. "That's true. Choosing a man is sometimes harder than picking stocks." She then asked Annen if she had a boyfriend. This played right into Annen's hands. Annen began to boast, saying her boyfriend treated her very well, and her continuous stay at this hotel was because her boyfriend doted on her, spoiling her so much he would pluck the stars from the sky for her. Mrs. Huang listened and said, "A rare devoted lover. You must cherish him." Annen said, "He should cherish me, and he promised me he would divorce his wife as soon as possible and be with me. He and his wife have long lost all affection. Staying together is just suffering. He said he only feels happy when he's with me." Mrs. Huang looked at her. "You're so young and beautiful, and there are many excellent single men out there. Why are you so fixated on this?" And then naturally launched into a theatrical display, largely about how, when love comes, nothing can stop it, not caring about worldly opinions, only pursuing soulmates, and so on. Mrs. Huang whispered to Yunyan, "She can probably only connect with his soul. With Huang Jifa's potbelly and gasping for breath after 3 steps, it's impossible for a young girl like her to be infatuated with his body. She's not after his wallet. She'd probably have to hold her nose when passing him, afraid of the old man's smell." Yunyan thought about Huang Jifa's physique. "Then what?" Yunyan asked. Then Mrs. Huang asked Annen, "Did that man tell you when he's divorcing?" That one question hit Annen's sore spot. She looked very unhappy and said, "Soon. He said he would definitely divorce his wife." Mrs. Huang shook her head, tooting twice. "You just said it yourself. Some men are known by their face, but not their heart. For a man, divorce is a very troublesome thing, so marriage shouldn't be ended lightly. Plus, from what you just said, your boyfriend must have good conditions, so he'd be even less willing to divorce easily. A red flag at home and colorful flags fluttering outside. That's the situation men enjoy the most. And then, men like that are everywhere in this circle. Some can just drag it out for a lifetime. Who ends up losing by dragging it out?" In the evening, I proactively told Huang Jifa that since Annen and we have a connection, we can't just watch her make more and more mistakes. When necessary, I'll advise her. How can married men be so easily approached? Mrs. Huang told Yunyan, and then will definitely tell Huang Jifa about our meeting. I can't let Huang Jifa get the upper hand. Feigning ignorance was Mrs. Huang's current best plan. Waiting for the opportunity to act was key. However, Yunyan also admired Mrs. Huang's adaptability. If it were her, she might not have such composure and wisdom in turning a small effort into a great result. That's why I think my affair with Huang Jifa, the sooner the better. That mistress is not an easy one to deal with. She can't sit still and will be restless. I'm not afraid of her being clever. I'm afraid of her being foolish. To avoid prolonged complications, we can't wait any longer." Yunyan nodded, squeezing her hand. Chairman Su was quite welcoming to their proactive visit this time. Mrs. Huang wasn't entirely clear on the reason behind it, but Yunyan had guessed. It was because Chairman Su brought out a new set of fishing rods. Mrs. Huang wasn't knowledgeable about fishing, so she didn't understand fishing tackle. When she saw him bring out new fishing gear, she didn't think much of it, only saying, "Chairman Su, new fishing gear?" Chairman Su chuckled, gesturing toward Yunyan. "It was bought by this girl. Not bad, little girl, you have good taste." Yunyan smiled. "I'm just an amateur. I often watched my father fish when I was in Jiangnan, and I didn't have the patience to learn a thing or two, but I do know the good and bad of fishing gear. My father always had me by his side when he chose fishing tackle back then." Only then did Mrs. Huang realize this, and she finally understood the reason for Chairman Su's change in attitude. Fishing gear praised by him must be excellent. She looked at Yunyan, her heart moved. Fishing gear worth gifting wouldn't be cheap. Chairman Su clearly loved the fishing gear she gave him, holding it fondly, and said to Yunyan, "This set is a commemorative edition. For you to be able to buy it is truly impressive. It must have been very hard to find, right?" Yunyan smiled. "Where there's a will, there's a way." Her answer was quite meaningful. Mrs. Huang looked at Yunyan with admiration, amazed she could think of such a move. Chairman Su laughed heartily. "Your father loved fishing very much and was quite good at it. A few times we arranged to go fishing, I would come back empty-handed, but your father would always have a full basket. It shows that my father truly regarded you as a confidant, Chairman Su. If it were someone else in a formal setting, he would have let you win, Yunyan replied softly. Chairman Su was very pleased after hearing this, stroking the fishing rod. Care to join me for a fishing trip to try it out? All right. After a simple lunch, Yunyan accompanied Chairman Su fishing. Mrs. Huang, not knowing how to fish, sat by the lake enjoying the scenery. She was a smart woman. At this moment, getting closer would most likely disrupt Yunyan's rhythm, so she preferred to accompany them from a distance rather than make herself conspicuous. And so, a whole afternoon passed. Yunyan accompanied Chairman Su fishing by the lake, occasionally asking him about fishing wisdom. Chairman Su was not stingy, transforming into a kind elder and sharing everything he knew. They chatted about fishing experiences, professional fishing gear, interesting past anecdotes. They talked about everything under the sun but business. Chairman Su didn't bring it up, nor did Yunyan press him, simply maintaining a calm and adaptable attitude. Until sunset, both had a good catch. Chairman Su naturally caught quite a lot, chuckling, "You girl, you're too modest." Yunyan caught only a few fish less than Chairman Su. She said, "Uncle Su, I also want to be modest, but I'm genuinely not as skilled." "I don't think you're less skilled. I think you know how to manage things very well." Chairman Su slowly reeled in his rod, smiling at the shimmering lake surface. His next question was sharp and to the point. "I heard you just signed a factory agreement with the Huang family. Aren't you afraid of harming the Yu family's interests by getting involved in Mrs. Huang's affair?" Yunyan replied neither humbly nor arrogantly. "Strictly speaking, the factory belongs to the Su family. Without Mrs. Huang's intervention, the cooperation between the Yu family and the Huang family would not have been negotiated smoothly." Chairman Su glanced at her, but said nothing. Yunyan continued, "We have to take a gamble. The Yu family cannot always be constrained by others." Chairman Su smiled slightly. "In this regard, you are very much like your father." They didn't stay for dinner. Chairman Su had intended to keep them, but Yunyan politely declined. As the car slowly drove out of the estate, Mrs. Huang asked her if Chairman Su had mentioned business during fishing. Yunyan countered, "Why don't you ask me why I didn't want to dine at the estate?" Knowing when to stop, Mrs. Huang said pointedly, "A sense of proportion is very important." Yunyan smiled and nodded. Then she said, "Chairman Su didn't proactively discuss business." Mrs. Huang uttered a no. "What's your assessment?" Yunyan asked. Mrs. Huang thought for a moment and said, "Everything is uncertain, so success is up to fate." Yunyan said nothing. "I just never expected you to give Chairman Su a set of fishing gear," Mrs. Huang said sincerely. "Was that fishing gear hard to buy?" "That brand isn't hard to buy. What's hard to buy are the commemorative editions, especially those from specific years," Yunyan said softly. "Last time I came to see Chairman Su, I noticed the fishing gear he used was a limited edition of that brand, and everything he owned related to fishing gear was from that brand. So I guess he was passionate about it. Later, I looked it up and found that true enthusiasts are keen on collecting commemorative editions of that brand. If they can't find a commemorative edition, they turn to collecting limited editions. Chairman Su most likely hasn't managed to collect a commemorative edition. Even if he had one, what difference would it make if I gave him another set? It only proves that I'm an expert in this area and have a common language with him." Mrs. Huang was amazed upon hearing this. "You observe, too, meticulously. Know yourself and your enemy, and you'll win 100 battles. And Chairman Su sees through my little trick," Yunyan chuckled. "He's just generous enough not to expose me." Mrs. Huang sighed lightly. "Since the commemorative edition is so hard to buy, how did you get it?" "It was somewhat by chance, but mostly money makes the world go round," Yunyan said. "The owner of a fishing tackle shop in Nanzhou happened to have collected a brand new commemorative set, and I paid a high price to buy the set he had." "Is it that simple?" Mrs. Huang didn't believe it. "Chairman Su isn't short of money. If it could be bought with money, he wouldn't be so happy." "That's why I said it was a stroke of luck," Yunyan chuckled softly. "The owner's young daughter had a broken brooch. Coincidentally, that brooch was designed by the Yu family team and later sold at auction. The owner's daughter loved that brooch so much she still wore it, even though it was broken and couldn't bear to take it off. I mailed the broken brooch to Jiangcheng for restoration. Having the original designer personally restore it is a rare opportunity. The owner, doting on his daughter, agreed to my request." Mrs. Huang laughed. "Others go out and just buy for fun, but your purchases are quite elaborate. We'll just have to see if it works." When the car was a considerable distance from the estate, Yunyan noticed a minivan parked by the roadside, which looked familiar from afar. Only when they got closer did she clearly see the license plate. Yunyan jolted. Wasn't it familiar? Jiang Yunyan's car appearing here was no accident. What's more, as Mrs. Huang's car approached, his chauffeur-driven vehicle flashed its lights, as if signaling something. Mrs. Huang's driver noticed, surprised. "Mrs. Huang, look." Yunyan immediately understood. and quickly told her driver to stop. Seeing Mrs. Huang's surprised expression, she explained, "I have something else to attend to, so I'll get off here." Mrs. Huang was a shrewd person. Although she couldn't clearly see who was in the car, the license plate alone suggested it was no ordinary vehicle. Remembering various past events, she gently patted Yunyan's hand and said, "Are you really okay getting off here? If you're truly in a difficult situation or something's wrong, just tell me. I'll help if I can." Yunyan smiled faintly. "It's really fine, don't worry." After getting out, Yunyan stood by the roadside. Once Mrs. Huang's car left, she took a deep breath, a new layer of heaviness settling in her heart. Perhaps it was the nature of their current relationship, let alone seeing Jiang Yunyan himself. Just seeing his car parked there made her nervous. She wondered if he was in the car right now. Just as she was about to take a step, the car turned around and came towards her, not waiting for her to cross the street. The car door slowly opened. Yunyan looked inside and saw Jiang Yunyan. "Get in," he said flatly. The pressure inexplicably intensified. Yunyan steeled herself and got in. As the door closed, the car compartment was filled with his masculine scent, woody yet with an aggressive edge. She knew she was pathetic. Despite resisting him so much, despite her scalp tingling at the sight of him, she could never refuse his scent. Just like now, enveloped by his aura, tightly wrapping around her, it inadvertently reminded her of last night and this morning's intimacy. His scent was pervasive, intertwining with her body heat and breath, relentlessly seeping in. Even if he used her bath liquid, it would gradually be replaced by his scent. "Why are you here?" Yunyan asked softly. Shouldn't he be at some social engagement at this hour? Jiang Yunyan instructed old Lu to start the car and replied, "Waiting for you." Yunyan was stunned. Jiang Yunyan turned to look at her, his posture seemingly casual. "Did you forget what I told you this morning?" Yunyan was taken aback again. What he said? What did he say? Seeing her reaction, Jiang Yunyan frowned slightly. Yunyan was most afraid of his frown. It always meant trouble. She immediately linked her arm through his, lowering her voice. "You were so rough this morning. How could I possibly have the energy to listen to anything you said? I was dead tired." Jiang Yunyan looked down at her. She quickly lowered her gaze, avoiding his stare. There was an element of pretense, but her heart truly pounded. She wasn't someone who was used to saying such things. Her ears uncontrollably burned, and her face flushed. Streetlights flashed by outside the car window. Inside, the light was dim, but he could see her faintly rosy cheeks, alluring but not vulgar, enough to make one's heart itch. Jiang Yunyan leaned closer, smiling. "Rough? I wouldn't say so. You had enough energy to run around all day." "I didn't run around all day. I slept until the sun was high," Yunyan quickly explained, "and I didn't expend much energy all afternoon." After saying this, Yunyan suddenly realized, staring at him. "You knew I came to see Director Su?" Jiang Yunyan leaned back. A storm raged in Yunyan's heart. Truly, nothing could be hidden from him. But was it interesting to stare at her like this? Director Su liked the new fishing rod? Jiang Yunyan asked again, his tone light. Yunyan swallowed with difficulty. "So you knew all along?" Jiang Yunyan raised a hand to gently caress the hair on her forehead. "As soon as you arrived in Nanzhou, you went straight to the most famous fishing tackle shop. I had to know your preferences. I never saw you particularly keen on fishing before, so why the sudden passion?" He tucked a strand of her hair behind her ear, his slender fingers lightly tracing her earlobe, causing her to tremble slightly. His fingers then rested on the main artery of her neck, feeling her pulse beat. Her skin was warm to the touch, a vibrant body. Even a faint scent of a woman lingered on his fingertips. The woman's neck was like a section of fair lotus root, delicate and smooth, irresistible to touch. He gently caressed her neck, and images of lingering intimacy and her soft, weak pleas involuntarily surfaced in his mind. Like a kitten stretching its claws, a light, fleeting touch. The light in Jiang Yunyan's eyes gradually deepened. Yunyan didn't look up at him, letting his fingers caress her neck, warm and ticklish, unsettling her. She said, I genuinely wanted to help Mrs. Huang. Director Su was key." Jiang Yunyan withdrew his hand. Director Su is a seasoned veteran, very cautious and reserved in his dealings. Yet today, he was swayed by her fishing rod. This reason, if spoken aloud, would raise eyebrows. Yunyan pondered for a moment. It only proves he already had the intention, just lacked an excuse. Jiang Yunyan tilted his head to look at her. "I thought you believe it was your sincerity that moved mountains." Yunyan shook her head. "I don't have that much confidence. You just said it yourself. Director Su is an old hand. How could such a profound person be easily moved by a fishing rod? I suspect he already had the idea of throwing in the towel, but just lacked an opportunity. The first time Mrs. Huang and I went to him, he naturally couldn't agree. After all, he's a member of the board. Even if he wanted to retire, he couldn't leave a mess behind. He would definitely observe people's intentions. If Mrs. Huang had been impatient, whether during this period or at today's meeting, she would have tried every possible means to probe and test Director Su, which would inevitably lead to his dislike. The primary condition for achieving great things is a stable mindset. Otherwise, how can one navigate the business world? Mrs. Huang maintained her composure, and Director Su clearly saw this. Worldly affairs are unpredictable, and human hearts are difficult to fathom. Sometimes, doing and saying nothing at all can achieve the desired outcome. A faint smile seemed to play on Jiang Yinyan's lips. You have a sharp eye. Yinyan looked up at him, tentatively asking, according to you, Director Su will agree this time, right? Don't you have your own judgment? Jiang Yinyan retorted. Yes, but my judgments are all based on my petty cleverness, Yinyan said softly. Your judgments are different. What's the difference? Jiang Yinyan asked, a half-smile on his face. Yinyan glanced at him, then lowered her eyes slightly, softly saying, to be able to snatch meat from Jiang Yintai's mouth and earn the respectful title of Young Master Yin from everyone in the circle. It speaks volumes about your tactics in the business world. And I also heard that Jiang Yintai lost another project. I imagine it's not unrelated to your operations in Nanzhou. At this point, she looked up, met Jiang Yinyan's profound gaze, and immediately averted her eyes again. My point is, you're experienced in business, and all your judgments aren't based on assumptions or whims. Her voice was small, intending not to let old Lu hear too much. But in a man's eyes, isn't a woman who knows how to show weakness also attractive? Jiang Yinyan watched her demure expression, her cheeks slightly flushed. He knew it might be her playing hard to get, but he couldn't help but be momentarily lost in thought. Come closer to me, he commanded. Yinyan tensed up. Don't want to hear. Jiang Yinyan raised an eyebrow. I do. Yinyan, knowing when to yield to circumstances, quickly leaned forward. Jiang Yinyan seemed amused by her demeanor, his lips curling into a faint, gentle smile. He then casually wrapped an arm around her waist, whispering, there's a first time and a second time, but not a third and fourth. Director Su is a smart man. He'll naturally find a graceful way to accept. Besides, your fishing rod wasn't given for free, and you involved Jiang Cheng's craftsmanship. If Director Su still doesn't appreciate it, he'd be ungracious. Yunyan stared at him in astonishment. You knew I involved Jiang Cheng too? Jiang Yinyan smiled without speaking. Yinyan slightly narrowed her eyes, observing him, and some thoughts began to form. She straightened up slightly. I get it. The owner of that fishing tackle shop being able to bring out the commemorative edition has something to do with you, right? She paused, then added, the owner is an enthusiast. Since it's a private collection, he wouldn't easily display a commemorative edition. You chose the address of the Nanzhou Hotel, and the fishing tackle shop is right next to it. That can't be a coincidence. A faint smile flickered in Jiang Yinyan's eyes. I do know the owner of that shop, but all the traps were laid. It's your skill that you jumped into them. The talk of digging traps seemed inappropriate, but it subtly praised her. Yunyan's mouth opened and closed. After a long moment, she said, are you friends, yet he charged so much? Jiang Yinyan couldn't help but laugh this time. Did it cost you money? The retort left Yunyan speechless. After a long while, she said, but I also involved Jiang Cheng. Jiang Yinyan raised an eyebrow. I set up the connection for you, and even put money into it. What's wrong with you contributing some labor? That was true. Yunyan was speechless again. The car drove into the city, neon lights splashing against the windows. She spoke. You just said you were waiting for me. Why wait outside? Don't you know Director Su? Jiang Yinyan looked at her, his eyes holding a deeper meaning. What's wrong? Yinyan asked, puzzled. Jiang Yinyan smiled. Since you're doing something important, I'll let you handle it. If I went, it would be counterproductive. Yinyan was stunned. She never expected him to say that. The key was that he actually did it. Knowing she was at Director Su's estate, knowing what she was doing, and then just waiting outside? How long did you wait? Unexpectedly, this question displeased Jiang Yinyan, and he frowned tightly. What do you think? What do I think? How would I know? Yinyan thought, wanting to cry. In any case, Jiang Yinyan didn't specify how long he waited. Instead, he asked her, do you trust Mrs. Huang? Yinyan thought for a moment, then said, it depends on the aspect. She didn't simply answer yes or no, which made Jiang Yinyan look at her differently. He asked with interest, tell me. Yunyan sighed softly. I actually thought quite simply. Huang Jifa used the project to pressure us. Such a person isn't truly interested in cooperation. The cooperation with Yu family's factory is a major matter involving our return to Jiangnan, and it's a long-term partnership. Also, no matter how bad the Huang family gets, they still have wealth and power in the Jiangnan area and will inevitably have frequent dealings in the future. Given Huang Jifa's character, I don't trust his long-term vision. She paused, thought for a moment, and continued. Mrs. Huang has a request for me. I helped her, and I did so when she decided to burn her bridges. There are countless people who add icing to the cake, but very few who provide help in times of need. I want Mrs. Huang to owe me this favor in her heart. Of course, in the face of profit, human hearts can change. In business, the only way to maintain long-term relationships is through mutual benefit. Being able to engage in dialogue on equal footing is the most crucial. Other things are not important. Jiang Yinyan smiled at her, saying nothing. Did I say something wrong? Yunyan asked. No, you were very clear and insightful. But Jiang Yinyan's tone shifted, staring at her with a half-smile. Is your helping Mrs. Huang merely that simple? Jiang Yinyan looked at her, his gaze penetrating, and then he suddenly smiled. Since you have your considerations, I wish you swift success. But let me remind you, being clever alone isn't enough. Many things in business require more than just cleverness. Let me ask you this. Do you think Yu Zhuanzhou's business considerations are stronger than yours? Of course, Yunyan said, but her heart pounded. His half-spoken, half-hidden words truly distressed her, yet she couldn't press him, otherwise it would be too obvious. And she had a vague feeling that he had likely seen through all her plans. Jiang Yinyan raised his hand and actually flicked her on the forehead. She was startled. No, when it comes to cleverness, Yu Wanzhou is not as good as you. Yunyan covered her forehead. How could that be? Yu Wanzhou has business acumen. After the Yu family's troubles, he carried on until now and even made progress. Besides his accurate judgment of projects, it's mostly due to his considerable resourcefulness, Jiang Yinyan said. It sounded like praise for Yu Wanzhou, but Yunyan heard a different meaning in his words, considerable resourcefulness. What do you mean? In business, you can't always stick to the rules. Sometimes, it's necessary to forge a new path. In this aspect, you're not as good as him. Jiang Yinyan leaned back in his seat, speaking in a light, breezy tone, then said something that shook Yunyan to the core. Do you truly believe Zhang Xianwen was merely falsely accusing him back then? Yunyan shivered. She looked up at Jiang Yinyan, taking a long moment to speak. Why bring up Zhang Xianwen again? Back then, Zhang Xianwen deliberately made trouble for Zhou. Jiang Yinyan smiled, retorting, then did Yu Wanzhou retaliate against Zhang Xianwen later? Yunyan's heart sank from her throat. She began to feel uneasy, and a vague premonition started to form. She didn't want to dwell on Jiang Yinyan's words, but she couldn't help but overthink them. Zhou wouldn't dare touch her circle, so how could he possibly provoke Zhang Xianwen again? Yunyan spoke up for Yu Wanzhou. Jiang Yinyan reached out and pinched her chin, a hint of coldness in his smile. Zhang Xianwen flirted with you and was beaten half to death by Yu Wanzhou back then. You say he wouldn't dare provoke Zhang Xianwen. Yunyan mumbled, times have changed. Do you believe that? Jiang Yinyan smiled. Yunyan's heart was filled with trepidation. But it's not important. Jiang Yinyan pulled her closer, examining her face in the faint light. As long as you stay by my side, his affairs aren't important. Jiang Yinyan hadn't been fooling her. He really was there waiting for her. And then he took her home. It was a favor to her. No, it was a favor to her front door lock. Old Lu had shown mercy yesterday and hadn't completely destroyed it. After dropping them off, Old Lu drove away. The routine would be the same. He'd come pick Jiang Yinyan up the next morning. It wasn't too late. Neighbors returning late from work, office workers, and students cramming for their college entrance exams were all squeezed into the elevator. Yunyan stood in a corner, terrified of running into any of the neighborhood's elderly gossips, who might be out for a stroll and would immediately start spreading the news that she was bringing a man home. Jiang Yinyan stood beside her. His tall frame mostly shielded her, at least creating a relatively comfortable space for her. However, while there were no elderly gossips in the elevator, there was a young woman who kept stealing glances at Jiang Yinyan. An exceptionally handsome man always reaped his share of admiring gazes. Yunyan could see the young woman. Although Jiang Yinyan was blocking her, the elevator had mirrored walls. She could see the woman, and the woman could see her, so their eyes inadvertently met in the reflection. The woman was quite forthright and spoke directly. I live on the floor above you. Your boyfriend is really handsome. For a moment, Yunyan didn't know what to say and could only offer a polite smile. Jiang Yinyan turned his head slightly to glance at her, but she didn't look up or meet his eyes. After they got out of the elevator, Jiang Yinyan casually asked, "What are you so nervous about?" "I'm not nervous," Yunyan said, not wanting to discuss the topic. Jiang Yinyan asked again, "Am I someone you can't be seen with?" You can, Yunyan nodded repeatedly. What did this have to do with whether he could be seen or not? The woman had said boyfriend. Could she nod or shake her head? If she nodded, it would be a lie. Their relationship was one that couldn't see the light of day. At most, she was a bed warmer, and Jiang Yinyan had never given her any promise of a title. If she shook her head, What would an outsider think? Why would you bring a male friend home this late? To fix the plumbing? Seeing her purely perfunctory expression, Jiang Yinyan didn't get annoyed. He walked to her front door and held out his hand. Key. So natural. Yinyan took the key out of her bag and handed it to him. He opened the door and said casually, "The lock still works. We should switch to a keypad lock later." Yinyan didn't answer, thinking to herself, and whose fault is it that the lock barely works? When she saw him casually slip the key into his pocket, Yinyan froze. Noticing this, Jiang Yinyan asked, "What's wrong?" "My key." Yinyan's gaze fell on his pocket, gesturing. Jiang Yinyan changed his shoes. "You don't have a spare?" Yinyan opened her mouth. "I do." Jiang Yinyan grunted in acknowledgement. After putting his shoes away, he walked straight inside, tossing over his shoulder, "I'm keeping this one." "Hey!" Jiang Yinyan stopped and glanced back at her. She immediately fell silent. Went into the bathroom. Yinyan stood in the foyer for a few seconds before coming to her senses and following him. Jiang Yinyan finished washing his hands. Seeing her standing at the bathroom door, he asked, "Are you washing your hands or taking a shower?" The question was casual, but it startled Yinyan. "I'm washing my hands, not showering." "Not showering?" Jiang Yinyan smiled, leaning towards her. "Not even after we're done today?" Yunyan's heart nearly leaped out of her chest, and her ears burned. She didn't answer the question. Instead, she said, "Are you always this casual when you enter someone else's home? And why are you keeping my key?" After asking, she remembered the crucial point. "And tonight, you can't stay here again." Jiang Yinyan listened patiently until she finished. He wiped his hands with a towel and said unhurriedly, "This is your home. Are you someone else? Since you're not, I'm not entering someone else's home. I'm keeping the key so I don't have to pick the lock again. As for tonight," he hung up the towel and stood face to face with her, asking with a low chuckle, "Why can't I stay here?" Yunyan argued forcefully, "It's very inconvenient for you to be here." "Inconvenient how?" Jiang Yinyan's expression was teasing. "Inconvenient for you to order takeout and snacks." Yunyan was at a loss for words. After a moment, she said, "I mean it's inconvenient for you." She scrambled to find the words. "Look, my apartment complex isn't quiet enough. It's not like your home or the hotel rooms you book. Plus, there are no daily necessities or a change of clothes for you. The outfit you wore yesterday isn't even washed yet, so you'll have nothing to change into tomorrow morning. More importantly, you haven't eaten at this hour, have you? And what bad timing. The fridge is completely empty. Last night's meal cleaned it out, right?" Jiang Yinyan looked at her with a half-smile. "You have quite a few excuses." The more Yinyan spoke, the more confident she became. "Just tell me if I'm right or not. The most practical problem is that the fridge is empty, isn't it? At this hour, are you going to go to the supermarket and buy groceries instead of letting me order takeout? What a waste of time. The supermarket is full of elderly people fighting over sale items. Who knows how long the checkout line would be?" Jiang Yinyan seemed to ponder this and grunted in agreement. "So, young Master Yin, given your status, it's better to have old Lu come back and take you to a decent restaurant. As for me, I can just grab a quick bite. Don't worry about me." Yunyan felt that victory was within her grasp. The words had barely left her mouth when a knock came at the door. Jiang Yinyan glanced at her. A shiver ran through Yunyan. Her first thought was, Yuan Zhou is here. She saw Jiang Yinyan turn and walk toward the foyer. Yunyan jolted and hurried after him. "Let me get it." Before she could finish her sentence, Jiang Yinyan had already opened the door. Yunyan quickly squeezed into the doorway. Seeing who it was, her heart, which had been in her throat, dropped with relief. But her second reaction was astonishment. No, horrified would be more accurate. "You, miss you. Sorry to disturb you." Old Lu entered, carrying large and small bags. Jiang Yinyan, acting as if he were the host, told Old Lu to just bring the things into the living room. After Old Lu put the bags down, he asked Jiang Yinyan, "Should I still come for you early tomorrow morning?" Jiang Yinyan was about to answer, but thought for a moment and turned to ask Yunyan, "When does this complex usually start getting busy?" "What are you planning?" Yunyan asked warily. "Just asking." Yunyan knew it was definitely not that simple, but seeing him waiting, she replied, "It's cold in the winter now, so it doesn't get busy until after 8. But some people get up early and rush to the market next door before 7 to get the freshest vegetables." Jiang Yinyan understood. He instructed Old Lu, "Be here to pick me up at 6 o'clock sharp tomorrow." Old Lu showed no reaction, simply replying respectfully, "Understood." Yunyan hadn't expected this and stood there, stunned. After Old Lu left, Jiang Yinyan bent down and carried several bags into the kitchen. Yunyan looked down and saw that he had mostly taken bags of groceries. One bag was left on the floor, a garment bag that looked like it contained clothes. Yunyan's head was spinning. How was Old Lu so fast? No, this had to be something Jiang Yinyan had arranged in advance. It seemed Jiang Yinyan was dead set on staying. He had even prepared a change of clothes. Feeling utterly defeated, Yunyin bent down to pick up the bag. Wow, it was heavy. He had carried several bags this full inside all at once. Was the fridge big enough? In the next second, Jiang Yinyin, who had come back, took the bag from her. She lifted her hand and saw red marks on her fingers. Jiang Yinyin glanced at her and saw them, chuckling softly. Such delicate skin. Wait, what does that mean? She followed him into the kitchen. Why did you buy so much stuff? It's best if you don't eat out for the next few days. It's cleaner to eat at home, Jiang Yinyin said lightly. Yunyin felt the current situation was completely beyond her imagination. I don't understand. Don't understand what? Jiang Yinyin took the ingredients out of the bags one by one, filling the countertop. I don't understand why you're doing this. Yunyin leaned against the doorframe, her fingernails lightly scratching the wood. Even if I ate something that put me in the hospital, that would be my business. She truly couldn't figure him out. Hearing this, Jiang Yinyin froze. His movements as he organized the ingredients paused for a moment. Then he frowned and said irritably, If you're in the hospital, who's going to serve me? Yunyin was taken aback. Since we have an agreement, you'd better stay safe and sound for this year at least. Otherwise, he trailed off. Yunyin was on guard. Otherwise what? A mocking smile suddenly appeared in Jiang Yinyin's eyes. Otherwise, the term will be extended. Doubled. Yunyin sucked in a sharp breath. Any other questions? Jiang Yinyin looked at her leisurely. No more questions. How could she dare have any more questions? She wanted to live a long life. Then help me organize the groceries? Jiang Yinyin suggested. Yunyin nodded in a daze. Just as she was about to move, Jiang Yinyin chuckled lightly. Go wash your hands. Asterisk, she could practically rub her hands raw. Wouldn't they just get dirty again, organizing the food? Asterisk. There were so many groceries that Yunyin used up all her food containers and plastic bags. By the time the refrigerator was neatly organized, Jiang Yinyin had nearly finished making dinner. 1 soup, 1 meat dish, and 2 vegetable dishes. But there was no staple food. Yunyin searched for a long time. Jiang Yinyin kindly reminded her, I didn't make any. Yunyin let out a small ah. Just as Jiang Yinyin was about to speak, she held up a hand to stop him. Fine, I get it. That familiar feeling of being controlled. Back then, the Yu family chef had strictly followed nutritional guidelines, with strict standards for carbohydrate intake and especially sugar control. There were always a few days each week when sugar was completely cut out. Yunyin understood and agreed with it, since it was good for her health, but she really had such strong cravings. Cravings for carbs, cravings for sweets. She knew it wasn't good, so she would tell herself to just have a little occasionally. Jiang Yinyin was about to deprive her of even those occasional opportunities. This was not a good sign. Try it. Although her heart was heavy, Yunyin sat down. She had to admit, the food he made was delicious, but it was a different kind of delicious. It had the flavor of the Yu family's chef. The soup, in particular, was exquisitely savory. She drank several bowls in a row, then said, You won't let me eat carbs, but drinking soup at night is even more fattening. Did you think I skipped the staple food because I was afraid you'd get fat? This soup is to nourish your stomach. If you get fat from it, so be it. As long as it's good for your digestion, Jiang Yinyin replied. It took Yunyin a long moment to swallow a mouthful of soup. How vicious of him. Jiang Yinyin ate dinner tonight, but he didn't eat much. This must be his habit. When he was at the Yu house, he always ate a lot for breakfast and lunch, but less for dinner. The housekeeper, feeling sorry for him as he was still a child, would urge him to eat more. You're at the age where you're still growing. Not eating enough will affect your height. His height hadn't been affected at all. It really had everything to do with genetics. No one in the Jiang family was short. After a long silence, Yunyin said, Actually, I think my stomach has been much better these past few days. It's not a major illness. The human body has the ability to heal itself. Jiang Yinyin glanced at her. It's better, yes, but regular maintenance is important. Regular? Yunyin thought. He's not planning on coming over every day, is he? On second thought, probably not. He was usually very busy. She had no idea what had gotten into him these last 2 days. There are a lot of groceries in the fridge, enough to last me a while. Yunyin thought for a moment and added, And I'm a pretty good cook. At least, I have no problem taking care of myself. She was speaking indirectly, but the underlying meaning was clear. I'm good at cooking, so I don't need anyone else's help. How could Jiang Yinyin not understand the meaning between her lines? But he didn't respond. Yunyin felt an itch in her heart, wondering how she could ask him to leave in a way that was effective without offending him. Just as she was thinking, she heard Jiang Yinyin say, Yu Wanzhou is going to the Jiang residence tomorrow. Yunyin let out a small ah. She hadn't heard Yu Wanzhou mention it, but she immediately thought of what had happened a couple of days ago. Knowing Yu Wanzhou's temperament, he would definitely want to resolve things quickly. She didn't know what his purpose was in telling her this. After some thought, she said, It won't be that easy for GZ to marry into the Jiang family, unless... Jiang Yinyin looked up at her. She quietly took a sip of soup and added softly, unless the person behind the scenes gives it another push. Who comes to mind? Jiang Yinyan asked with a half-smile. Yinyan considered for a moment, then put down her spoon. Emola. Jiang Yinyan's expression remained calm. Why Emola? To force you into marriage. Jiang Yinyan's eyelids lifted. I'm right, aren't I? Yinyan had also been thinking about GZ's situation. As she thought, some of the logic and threads began to make sense. The person who benefited most was actually Emola. It killed two birds with one stone. It would quickly secure her marriage to the Jiang family, while also helping Jiang Yinyan strike a blow against Jiang Yintai, severing any possibility of the eldest branch of the family forming a marriage alliance with any financial conglomerate. Jiang Yinyan was intrigued. You used the word force. What made you think that? Didn't you also believe Emola was my fiancé? I used to think so. After all, everyone was saying it, so I had no choice but to believe it. But later, I noticed some things that made me start to doubt this marriage alliance. Yunyan was full from the soup and pushed her bowl aside. Putting aside your various displays of indifference toward Emola, let's just talk about you as a person. Me as a person? Someone like you isn't the type to let others arrange your life. You have to be the one in control. Yunyan hit the nail on the head. If it were a real marriage alliance, you would be the one choosing, not the one being forced to accept. Emola has crossed a line with you, making it extremely difficult for her to marry you smoothly. She knows this well, so she's taking a risky gambit. Jiang Yinyan chuckled softly. So, Yunyan, you're very clever. The single phrase outsider made Jiang Yinyan's face turn cold. Yinyan clearly felt the shift in atmosphere, like a pool of spring river water, gradually freezing over and solidifying. Had she said something wrong? But clearly, Jiang Yinyan had indeed cooled down, and when he spoke again, even his tone was cold. Outsider? This matter with GZ doesn't involve you? Is it unrelated to you? Yunyan's mouth opened slightly. Didn't you say that I should try my best to distance myself from this matter? Jiang Yinyan hadn't expected her to say that, and it was indeed what he had said before, leaving him speechless for a moment. After a long while, he said grumpily, "Talk to me when you can truly distance yourself." She was scolded again for no reason. Yunyan was utterly speechless. How exactly had she offended him? Not distancing herself was wrong, but distancing herself was also wrong. She said nothing more. She quietly waited for Jiang Yinyan to leave. Clearly, the current topic was already nearing a tense state, and continuing to talk might make things even more unpleasant. However, for a long while, Jiang Yinyan showed no intention of leaving. Seeing that she had almost finished eating, he stood up, but it was to clear the table. Yunyan quickly rose upon seeing this. "I'll do it." Jiang Yinyan glanced at her, said nothing, and sat down. As she cleared the table, he watched her without blinking. It made her feel utterly uncomfortable. Several times she wanted to say, "Maybe you shouldn't stay here anymore. Who knows what I might say to offend you again." Sulking easily leads to insomnia, and insomnia easily makes you age. She didn't dare say it. After putting all the dishes and chopsticks in the dishwasher, Yunyan saw him still sitting there. Although his expression didn't show overt anger, it was certainly not pleasant or amiable. Yunyan thought for a moment, then returned to the kitchen, emerging with a tray carrying a pot of fruit tea and 2 cups. Though it's not exactly a direct antidote, Yunyan proactively poured him a cup of tea and gently pushed it in front of him. It can boost metabolism, and metabolism naturally slows down as you age, so you need a little help from... Seeing Jiang Yinyan glance at her, she quickly explained, "I wasn't saying you're old. I just meant the metabolic function." "That's enough," Jiang Yinyan said, too lazy to listen to her explanation. Yunyan fell silent. She poured herself a cup and silently drank her tea. After a long while, Jiang Yinyan said, "Report to my office on Monday." Yunyan didn't have time to swallow her mouthful of tea, looking up at him with a puzzled expression. "Report for what?" Jiang Yinyan unhurriedly added, "My special assistant was dismissed last week, and HR hasn't found a suitable replacement yet. You'll fill in for now until a suitable candidate is found. I've already informed HR." Yunyan was stunned for a long time, then coughed twice, almost choking on her tea. Only after she had regained her breath did she ask, "The Jiang family's company?" As soon as she asked, she realized it was a redundant question. Jiang Yinyan unexpectedly didn't retort to her, saying, "Naturally, it's an affiliated Jiang family enterprise, but the entire company operates independently, and currently my focus is also on this company. One of the projects is somewhat related to you, and the Nanzhou project has also been transferred here." Yunyan found it strange. A project related to me? She immediately realized and let out an ah. "Is it the project currently going through approval?" Jiang Yinyan nodded slightly. Yunyan's heart was pounding. So, she would be able to get first-hand access to a massive project? She had previously understood that the initial investment for the project was substantial, and the cycle wasn't short, so the entire project's operation was truly expensive. But the return rate was also considerable. How could Jiang Yinyan do a losing business? The project review is almost in its final stages. After you start, you could try to connect with the project team. Jiang Yinyan slowly drank his fruit tea, his tone unhurried. Yinyan said nothing, lost in thought. What do you want to ask? Jiang Yinyan knew she had a belly full of questions. Why do you want me to join the company? Yinyan asked directly. Jiang Yinyan casually replied. If you don't join my company, whose company do you want to join? Ting Yuan's? I didn't plan on joining his company. This was Yinyan's considered conclusion. Jiang Yinyan raised an eyebrow. Even if you wanted to, I wouldn't let you. You're my person. What would it mean if you joined his company? Yinyan pursed her lips, thinking his perspective on the matter was truly unconventional. A moment later, why would I join yours when I have my own company? Jiang Yinyan smiled. Using your own family's business to practice? Yinyan opened her mouth and, after a long pause, said, experience is accumulated. After all, if it were the old Yu family, you could mess around however you wanted and not fear making a wrong turn. At worst, you'd have time to start over. But can the current Fan Yuan withstand such turmoil? Even a tiny wrong decision could cause a domino effect, couldn't it? Jiang Yinyan hit the nail on the head. Yinyan fell silent. Joining Zhongshi is different. You'll have enough space to grow and experiment. More importantly, you'll get exposure to more projects both domestically and internationally, broadening your horizons, Jiang Yinyan said. Yinyan, you are smart and have the makings of a businesswoman, but judging from your current experience and business acumen, you are merely an unpolished gem. You need an opportunity to hone yourself. Although Ting Yuan invited you to join the headquarters, the interpersonal relationships you'd face there are too complex. Zhongshi's nature is different. You only need to deal with me. Yinyan was surprised. You want me to join? Zhongshi? Otherwise. Jiang Yinyan looked at her with amusement. Yinyan's heart pounded even harder. She knew Zhongshi Group, a renowned industrial group that once rivaled the Yu family. But a wrong business decision during a market transition had essentially ruined the group's future. At the time, she had heard her father sigh with regret, saying it was a pity for its former glory. Later, Zhongshi experienced a downturn. It was said the group was split up and some quite promising projects were thus aborted. And even later, she vaguely heard that Zhongshi had been secretly reorganized, its projects restructured, and it seemed to be on the rise again, though it had changed ownership. Just as the Yu family was gradually declining, Zhongshi Group broke through the encirclement and returned to the market. But the person behind Zhongshi's reorganization never appeared in the media, remaining active behind various projects while avoiding interaction with the press. It wasn't until Yinyan learned about the capital's crown prince, and then knew that the crown prince was Jiang Yinyan, that she understood who the true master behind Zhongshi Group was. In a world of business and fame, some information didn't need to be deliberately sought out. Yinyan heard that Jiang Yinyan, the capital's crown prince, was most skilled at capital and corporate restructuring. After returning to the Jiang family, he took action against an investment company in just 2 months, completing its capital restructuring, which not only saved the company's precarious future, but also secured him the position of major shareholder. In the time that followed, he used this company to attract external industries from the headquarters and also absorbed more foreign capital inflows. He was like the person behind the scenes, stirring up the situation. Even the most stagnant capital chains could transform into active capital flows in his hands, thereby forming excellent capital allocation relationships. It was said that when Jiang Yinyan first returned to the Jiang family, neither old Master Jiang nor the board of directors intended to let him into the headquarters, and the headquarters' key projects weren't meant for him to intervene in. Old Madame Jiang felt for her youngest son who had wandered abroad for years, and even more so hoped he could live out his life as a carefree prince. However, Jiang Yinyan was the wolf in the forest. He carved out his own path and forcefully strengthened his own influence. Nowadays, he naturally participates in the headquarters' key projects. Although the eldest son, Jiang Yintai, had to say it was impossible to uproot Jiang Yinyan's influence at the headquarters. As for Jiang Yinyan himself, it was said that besides the initial investment company, he had also integrated 2 other companies under his wing. And with Zhongshi Group also brought under his wing, his influence became immeasurable. After all, it was the scale of an entire group. And the project that Huang Jifa had been yearning for was the Economic Zone project led by Zhongshi Group, developing several key cities. Yunyan's mind worked quickly. Since Jiang Yinyan could bring the Nanzhou Development Project under Zhongshi, it meant the Nanzhou Development Project was also part of this approval. It was a big game, and the road ahead was bound to be full of obstacles. Yunyan hadn't expected Jiang Yinyan to let her into Zhongshi. Even without much contact, she knew Zhongshi was quite strict in talent selection. So, she would just walk in like that? Jiang Yinyan saw her concerns. You'll certainly get this opportunity more easily than others, but I won't give you special treatment. Whether you can handle the job still depends on your ability. Why won't you let me into the project team? Yunyan asked. Jiang Yunyan chuckled. You seem to have misjudged yourself. You have a strong business academic background, but with your current abilities, it will be difficult even to join the project team as an assistant. So you need to slowly hone your skills by my side. Yunyan was a bit embarrassed, but had to admit the truth. She could talk theory, but in terms of practical application, her abilities were still far off. If I can't handle it. She hesitated. Jiang Yunyan smiled. It's nothing if you can't handle it. After all, your main job is at night. Yunyan pursed her lips, feeling very uncomfortable inside. You can also consider it. You have 2 more days, Jiang Yunyan said. Today was Friday, giving her Saturday and Sunday to consider. Be your special assistant. Yunyan hesitated. Wouldn't she have to be by his side every day? Jiang Yunyan was amused by her question. Do you think being my special assistant is easy? She knew it wasn't easy. Jiang Yunyan leaned back. Of course, if you don't want to, I won't force you. But you can't go to someone else's company. I won't agree to that. What about the Jiang family side? Won't me joining your company attract suspicion? Yunyan paused here. All right, what impact was he afraid of? Jiang Yunyan saw through her thoughts. He said faintly, previously, I rarely appeared at Zhongshe, and externally, we never publicized who the behind-the-scenes boss was. You want to learn corporate experience to feed back into Feng Yuan, so you coincidentally submitted your resume to Zhongshe, and all your conditions happened to fit, so HR approved it. Speaking of this, he raised an eyebrow. What do you think? Yunyan shook her head. It sounds like an excuse as soon as I hear it. It is an excuse, but what can they do? Jiang Yunyan's tone was faint. And with the pressure on my shoulders, you don't have to worry. Yunyan thought about it and realized it was true. The pressure really did fall on him. She could pretend ignorance, but HR would always place employment resumes in front of him. After all, it was for his special assistant. So wouldn't he know it was her? And still recruit her to the group? Then how will you explain? Yunyan asked. Jiang Yunyan met her gaze with a half-smile. Are you worrying about yourself? Or me? I'm being serious. How is what I asked not serious? Jiang Yunyan raised an eyebrow slightly. Or, with a long night ahead, we could do something more proper. Yunyan's face stiffened. A moment later, I don't want it today. Don't want what? Jiang Yunyan looked at her. Yunyan lowered her gaze, her earlobes slightly warm. How could she refuse? It was impossible. He stayed tonight. Wasn't his intention very clear? Jiang Yunyan propped his chin with his hand, looking at her seemingly leisurely. Originally, I was thinking of letting you understand Zhongshe's current departmental structure. But since you think this isn't serious, then never mind. Yunyan let out an ah. It is serious business, yes. She saw the teasing in his eyes. He was doing it on purpose. Always wanting to save face a little, she said, I haven't agreed yet. Jiang Yunyan met her gaze. Follow your heart, Yunyan. Tang Hui took the initiative to appear and met GZ. She specifically found a quiet venue. Both Tang Hui and GZ were heavily disguised when entering and exiting. It was old Madame Zhang's strict order that GZ's matter must be settled before the Yu family came to the Jiang family for a showdown. There was no need to think much. The old madam really didn't want Jiang Zhe to marry a female celebrity into the family, even if the other party was a household name superstar. Old Madame Zhang's thinking was very traditional. She found it even more unacceptable to be pregnant before marriage and use the child to achieve one's goals. GZ's belly wasn't visible yet. Her overall appearance hadn't changed much, and her makeup was very delicate. Seeing Tang Hui stare at her belly, she chuckled softly. It's still small right now. The doctor said it's developing very well. Tang Hui snorted coldly. Miss G, let's talk. GZ had anticipated what they would discuss before coming. She sat calmly. A middle-aged woman followed, not far behind, not approaching. Tang Hui glanced at the other person. GZ softly explained, it's a nanny. I'm pregnant now, so everything is inconvenient. I need someone to look after me. This was Tang Hui's first time seeing GZ in person. How to put it? She was indeed beautiful, but her eyes were full of calculation. Although she didn't like Yunyan either, Yunyan inherently possessed the temperament of a well-bred young lady. And this temperament wasn't something all young ladies had. It must have come from the excellent upbringing of a prominent family to be nurtured into her very being. Now it was too late to regret. If she had known there was someone like GZ, she would have pleaded and urged Jiang Zhe to marry Yunyan quickly. Now it was ironic. All the young ladies from various families wanted to run 8 Zhang away as soon as they heard Jiang Ze's name. Tang Hui actively invited GZ without any surprise. GZ remained calm and composed in front of Tang Hui. She spoke directly, Mrs. Jiang, if you're here to persuade me to leave Jiang Ze, then forget it. I won't leave him. A child cannot be without a father. Tang Hui sneered. Even Jiangze isn't sure this child is his. Do you think I believe it? Or do you think the Jiang family's door is open to any child? GZ smiled faintly. It doesn't matter. I can wait for the child to be born as long as we do a paternity test. But if it comes to that, even if it proves the child is Jiangze's, the Jiang family's reputation will be ruined, won't it? Tang Hui suppressed her anger. She deeply loathed the woman's expression before her. Was her son really going to marry such a woman? Tang Hui felt a chill just thinking about it. After finally calming down, Tang Hui said, "You cling to Jiangze for nothing but money. I'll give you a sum of money and promise you a bright future, as long as you drop the idea of marrying into the Jiang family." GZ covered her mouth and smiled. "A sum of money? How much does Mrs. Jiang intend to give?" "Name your price," Tang Hui declared. "But I'll kindly warn Miss G, greed knows no bounds. No one to quit, or you'll end up with nothing and have no one to blame but yourself." GZ feigned curiosity. "What about the child in my belly then?" "Of course it's to be aborted. Are you taking the money and still keeping the child?" Tang Hui scoffed. GZ wagged her finger at her. "Any money Mrs. Jiang gives me, I'll consider it as prenatal care expenses or perhaps a gift from the grandmother to her unborn grandchild. But making me abort the child is out of the question. This is a tiny life. Mrs. Jiang, I hear you usually like to burn incense and worship Buddha. A person with a Buddha's heart shouldn't be so cruel. It's a great sin of killing." "You!" Tang Hui trembled with rage. GZ sighed. "Mrs. Jiang, I know you have prejudices against me and look down on my profession, but I also earn my living by my own efforts and have established myself in the entertainment industry through my abilities. I'm much stronger than those idle rich ladies who do nothing every day, aren't I? Isn't it strange that you don't despise those people, but instead look down on us who work hard for money? To take a step back, this child is mine. Whether Jiangze acknowledges him or your Jiang family does is not important. At worst, I'll raise the child alone. He's my flesh and blood. Just as you cherish your son, I'm also a mother, and I must protect my child." Tang Hui was about to erupt, but suddenly reacted, narrowing her eyes slightly at GZ. Why had this person suddenly changed her expression? Something was very wrong. She suddenly remembered the phone in her bag, and her heart skipped a beat. Had she guessed she was recording? She casually glanced at the table. GZ's phone was placed face down. God knows if she was also recording. What a calculating woman. Having concerns, Tang Hui reigned in her anger. Although recordings couldn't be used as courtroom evidence, they could stir up a storm online. After a long while, Tang Hui scoffed. "Miss G is quite good at creating a persona. As far as I know, Miss G's private life is quite rich. You said you established yourself in the entertainment industry by your own abilities, but I'd like to ask what abilities? The ability to rely on men?" GZ slightly pursed her lips, her face looking rather displeased. Tang Hui's face was full of contempt, but her words were spoken with controlled emotion. "And Miss G, you're mistaken. What I look down on has never been about the status of a profession, but those who gain benefits through dishonest means. The daughter-in-law of the Jiang family must be of upright character. Miss G, do you think you are?" GZ sneered at her words. Indeed, with both sides recording, they began to put on a show of righteousness. She thought for a moment and said with a smile, "I know it was my fault to provoke Jiangze when he already had a fiancée, but doesn't Jiangze bear any responsibility? I neither tricked him nor drugged him. He was a normal, rational person when he was with me. He knew exactly what he was doing, didn't he? We both knowingly made mistakes, so he doesn't need to bear the consequences." Tang Hui had truly experienced GZ's sharp tongue. There are many ways for Jiangze to take responsibility. Have you considered what kind of situation you'll face after marrying into the Jiang family? Tang Hui said coldly. "Leaving the entertainment industry is a must. That means you'll become one of those idle wives who can only rely on their husbands, as you just described. Are you willing to accept that?" GZ smiled sweetly. "For the sake of the child, what's there to be willing or unwilling about? Moreover, Jiangze and I truly love each other, and I believe he will support me no matter what I do." Tang Hui snorted. "Truly love each other? Miss G, you have the nerve to say that word." GZ said unhurriedly. "Of course, otherwise how would there be a love child? Tant pis félide." After meeting GZ and returning home, she complained of a headache and lay in bed groaning. The next day, gossip news broke. The matter of Tang Hui actively inviting GZ was exposed, and photos of the two entering a clubhouse one after another also circulated. Although the photos were not high definition, it was clear who was who. The purpose of the meeting didn't need much thought. It was related to the child. Netizens immediately conjured up several novels, including suspense novels. Some netizens joked that if GZ had an accident or miscarriage at this time, it would probably be inseparable from Mrs. Jiang. After all, it would be difficult for the Jiang family to acknowledge an unexpected addition. Many netizens started calling out to Jiang Zhe. Is he a mama's boy? The incident has been brewing for so long, and he hasn't shown up. Is it that hard to admit the child is his? Doesn't he have any idea what he's done? Some netizens also analyzed that GZ would definitely get her wish this time, as she was carrying a child of a wealthy family, and the saying a mother's worth increases with her child has been around since ancient times. But some netizens were not optimistic, saying that even if she gave birth to a child of a wealthy family, there were still cases where she didn't get a proper title. What if the Jiang family absolutely refused? What if they just completely cut ties? In the end, it's always the woman who suffers.